Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Ask Amber. In today's video, I have a great question or series of questions from a former student that I thought would be really helpful to share with you guys. And it's something that maybe you might have been wondering, or maybe something you haven't thought of that I just want to kind of discuss today. So I'm going to go ahead and read off her questions. It says, does anyone charge a lesser fee for the initial and charge for the touch-up? It would equal out to what I charge now. If so, do you find people don't come back for the touch-up? I've been seeing people complain of finding cheaper prices, but those people typically charge for their touch-up where I do not, and it ends up equaling out to what my services cost, or similar, maybe even more. I guess they feel like they are getting a better deal. Thoughts, comments, ideas are all welcome, please. So I thought this was a wonderful question, and it's something that I cover in my classes that I thought I should share here with you guys what we do and why. And I want to talk about the pros and cons of offering your clients a free touch-up or a complimentary included touch-up versus charging them separately for it. So essentially, if that didn't make sense to you, what she's asking is, she basically has been charging one fee and offering a free touch-up 6 to 8 weeks later. And she's run into issues where people are saying, well, I found somebody cheaper, because they're hearing her upfront cost and not factoring in the fact that they get a free touch-up. Whereas maybe her competitors are offering a first appointment that's cheaper, but charging for that touch-up. And then at that point, it's equaling out or could even be costing more than what she offers. So she's wondering whether or not she should consider charging for the touch-up and maybe lessening the first fee. So I have a lot of comments and thoughts on that. There are definitely pros and cons. My personal opinion, first of all, there's no wrong way to do it. You have to figure out what works for you and your clientele, your geography. But for me, I think there are a lot more pros to offering a complimentary touch-up 6 to 8 weeks after the first appointment than there are cons. Like it's to me a much better situation, and I'm going to tell you why, especially for new artists. So basically, what we're looking at is for what Brown V does. We have an initial appointment cost, and that is going to cover their first appointment and their touch-up 6 to 8 weeks later, which is about when we do microblading touch-ups. And that's because even as an established artist, thousands of sessions in, most of my clients still could use a touch-up. Even if they don't have to have it, their brows look pretty good. A lot of times I'm not even remapping them anymore, and that comes with experience. But still, there's usually a stroke here or there that got too light, or there's a tweak that we could do with the shape to make them perfect. And so I really welcome doing touch-ups. And when I first started, I knew that I would need to learn. And the only way that I feel you can learn in the beginning, and even now, as you change products and try new things, is to see those results healed. So I tried to create a system, and I think this is why most artists do free touch-ups. I tried to create a system that would make most people come back. So if I look at whether or not I should charge for the touch-up, I think for me, the best way to get them to come back is to make it be free. So first of all, let's clarify what free is. That touch-up isn't really free. You should be calculating how much time it takes you to do that appointment, what you're spending, what the value of your overall service is, and factor in that hour and a half that you're spending doing the touch-up. And then it's all basically just one cost. You can explain to customers that it's free or complimentary, but you shouldn't be doing it at a loss. So that's first and foremost. But I think I think customers like the idea of having something complimentary and free. They like the idea that they get to come back and you'll perfect them or answer their concerns. And so from a customer standpoint, I think they really, really like that. I think that if you charge people separately for that appointment, there will be some people, especially when you're established and you've been doing a great job, that'll say, well, my brows are good enough. And then I just don't want to spend the $100, whatever you're charging for that touch-up, even though it's a small fee. And in that case, you don't get to get healed pictures of your work, which is crucial. You don't get to see if what you did, that new product or that new technique you tried actually worked. So I feel like that's a disadvantage, especially for newer artists or people trying to relaunch their business. I also like the idea during a session to be able to say to my client at the beginning, if we don't get the color perfect, we just have to get close. If we don't get the shape perfect, or if we're a little unsure on size, we can be more conservative today. You don't have to make life or death decisions, because when we are done today, you're going to have 6 to 8 weeks to think about this. And then you're going to come back and we can tweak them. We can make them bigger or darker. I like that opportunity, and it gives me a chance to calm my client down, and they love it. I also like that when I'm done with a session, I don't feel pressure to overwork the skin because the client is trying to get me to perfect them in only one appointment so that maybe they can avoid having to pay for a touch-up appointment. So those are the main reasons that I think having a free touch-up appointment makes sense. And then the cons are, I guess, maybe one benefit to splitting it up. So let's say you decide to take a deposit and then you have them pay one fee at the first appointment. For conversation's sake, we'll just say it's $500. So they pay a $100 deposit to get in with you, and then at their first appointment, maybe it's only $300. So they pay $300, and then they pay another $100 at their touch-up. The nice thing about that is when they do come back for their touch-up, a lot of people still will because $100 isn't too much. But when they come back, you actually receive some sort of cash. And so from a cash flow perspective, you are getting paid at every appointment. I think the only con, honestly, to charging more upfront and not having anything paid at the touch-up is you don't receive money that day. So as a new artist, I can remember like being by myself and having to handle inventory. You do have to plan ahead. When somebody books that first appointment or pays you at that first appointment, you want to make sure that you're planning for the next month or two so that you have the supplies that you need. And again, to me, the benefits outweigh the cons, but that is definitely one drawback to offering a free touch-up. So those are kind of that's my thought process behind the initial fee and charge and if you should or shouldn't. Obviously, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and for some people, charging a lesser fee at the first appointment and then another fee at the touch-up works. But those are my thoughts. I do want to just comment one more thing that wasn't directly asked in this post, but she's discussing, if we go back to the question, that people are telling her they're finding someone cheaper, and she's trying to solve it with this touch-up issue, which is fine. I will add, though, that if someone is complaining about cheaper prices and they're going somewhere else because it's cheaper, for one, they may not be your ideal customer because they are price shoppers. And those are people who might always shop even next year when it's time for their annual touch-up. So even if you earn their business now by changing all your policies, they may not be back in a year or refer all their friends and family, which isn't good for your business growth. Also, if someone is talking to you a lot about your prices and not too much about the value that you offer, and not too much about, why it's worth the expense, it's possible that they just haven't been convinced by you that they have to see you, that what you offer is so valuable that the price doesn't matter, or at least the little bit of savings that they would get from the competitor isn't important to them. And that comes from branding and marketing your business appropriately. So spend a lot of time, if this is happening to you, it's important right now that you start spending a lot of time showing people over and over again what the value is. Talk to them about what your experience is like when they come in. Are they offered a nice drink? Do they get to relax? What's the environment look like? Does it smell good? Does it feel good? Talk to them about your expertise. How long have you been doing it? Or what's your background and creativity? How can you ensure that your value is so much more than everybody else? So those are things that you want to spend a lot of time talking about so that you can get people to stop worrying about only the price and start asking the right questions about your value and how long it lasts and how their lives are going to be changed. So I hope that this was really helpful to you guys. If you have more questions like this or things that you'd like to hear about, you can email us or comment below, and I would be happy to answer those questions. Make sure you subscribe and keep watching for more videos about Ask Amber, and I will answer more and more questions for you guys, and I hope that helps, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye.